The Magic Show is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, and check this out. Shards of Alara is coming, and this powerful multicolor set harkens back to the days of Ravnica in a whole new way. So get ready for States in November and pre-order Shards of Alara from StarCityGames.com today.
This is Gerard Fabiano. I just lost this round, but welcome to the Magic Show.
I've seen enough of nothing new. The blackest stain on history. The last laugh blues. Not gonna fight. Not gonna cry. Not gonna shop around.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of the Magic Show. This week we're going to take a look at what could only be described as the upcoming Reflecting Pool metagame, take a look at the latest Shards of Alara spoilers, and detail my plans for attending the Magic Cruise in February, along with a last-ditch effort to reach Germany. Let's go! Okay, so as this section's title may have tipped you off, the combination of Shards of Alara along with the hybrid-filled world of Shadowmoor has inevitably given us a Reflecting Pool metagame. As I've watched the spoilers of Shards of Alara come into focus, I've noticed more and more that my deck building would almost always begin with 8 to 12 Vivid Lands and 4 Reflecting Pool. If Mutavault was the flagship card of the Lorwyn block constructed format, then get your Reflecting Pools now because they are going to be ludicrously expensive as the days roll on. As more and more powerful multicolor cards are discovered, from the monstrous mythic creatures such as Imperial Archangel to the cycle of powerful uncommons like Rock's Warmonk and Sprouting Thrynax, you can bet that mana fixing will be at a premium. And while the new comes into play tap lands are certainly cute and will be utilized, the mana fixing provided by those, the new Sackland variants, and tricolor producing obelisk artifacts are just not good enough in standard when you have Vivid Lands and the pool at your disposal. This realization does two things. Firstly, it means that Magus of the Moon is ridiculously missed. This was such a great equalizer card that kept the multicolor madness in standard in check. And it's not like he wasn't answerable either, with plenty of fairy and 5-color control players packing cards like Murderous Redcap to deal with it. Though Mono Red was dropping him from deck lists by the end of the season for faster cards like Boggart Ramgang, he had his place and non-basic land hate is simply in dire need right now. Secondly, the focus on Vivid Lands slows down the format by about a turn. This is good for fast aggro decks such as Kithkin and Mono Red, but those decks will begin to falter as the power of having every color at your disposal can quickly shore up any problems you may be facing in the early turns. With the release of Shards of Alara, I expect these trends to only grow. The loss of Magus the Moon will cause aggro players to create the most blisteringly fast versions of their deck possible, trying to knock the other player out of contention before his Pancake Flippers and Wrath of Gods come online. The power of the charm cycle is also not to be underestimated. Two in particular are head and shoulders above the rest. They are, of course, blue-based. Bant Charm is simply one of the best charms ever, countering cryptic commands, destroying Loxodon Warhammers, and putting annoying creatures like Demigod of Revenge and Kitchen Finks on the bottom of their owner's library. Likewise, the other best charm in the cycle, Esper Charm, has been tested incredibly well. Mind Rot at instant speed, Council of the Soratami at instant speed, or Disenchant Your Bitter Blossom. Seems good. I expect foil versions of this powerful spell, much like Flame Javelin, to hit the $5 mark pretty quickly. For an example deck list, here's something I've been kicking around for the past few days. Before we begin, allow me to correct myself from last week. Since last week's episode, we've come to find out that Rafiq of the Many is actually a 3-3 and not a 3-4. This is very important, as that means the most popular removal spells in the format, such as Incinerate, Lash Out, and Nameless Inversion, now kill this incredibly powerful legend. Earlier this week when playtesting, I quickly found out why he wasn't a 3-4. If you didn't have Shriekmaw or Flame Javelin in hand, you were probably dead. The power in this deck is in its incredible versatility. That, of course, comes from its absurd mana base consisting of no less than a dozen Vivid Lands, a number that is probably incorrect, but the spells in it are so damn good it doesn't matter. Firstly, you're playing 8 Wrath of Gods in both the blue and white variety, along with 8 charms allowing you to draw cards, make them discard cards, disenchant at will, and deal with any creature on an individual basis. One of the cards that stood out in this deck was the Pancake Flipper himself, Rock's Warmonk. At just 3 mana, this 3-4 lifelinker hitting the board on turn 3 is the real deal, stopping Mono Red and Kithkin decks in their tracks. This guy demands removal or a 2-for-1 and quickly. Turn 3 Warmonk and a turn 4 Rafiq of the Many is no joke, people. Can you imagine double striking pancake flipping madness? Kapow! Stoic Angel has also proven as constructed worthy as my buddies assured me. This gal stops onslaughts like no other, and like most other creatures in this deck, works great with Rafiq of the Many. Luckily, this girl actually is a 3/4, so they'll need a Flame Javelin or Shriek Maw in order to handle her. Meanwhile, we have Muldrifter in here because, have you played Muldrifter? It's nice. Seriously. Feel free to experiment with your own Vivid Land plus Reflecting Pool creations as you see fit. With a full spoiler upon us, it's time to get those deck building juices flowing. Okay, so before we delve into the latest and greatest, let's fix up our errors from last week. As the very nature of spoilers is volatile, I'm not totally surprised at any of these changes. Firstly, Mana Plasma is 3 mana instead of 2. This makes it, quote, fair. The dreaded word all tournament players dislike. While the jury is still out on Mana Plasma, the difference between 2 and 3 mana is a pretty wide chasm in competitive Magic. Mr. Medallion is even better than I had him, whose actual name is Ethereum Sculptor and is a 1/2 instead of a 1/1. Rafiq of the Many, as noted previously, is now a 3/3 and dies to everything. Still a fantastic creature for just 4 mana. A typo caused me to list Cruel Ultimatum's mana cost incorrectly. It's officially 2 blue, 3 black, and 2 red. The wild hyperbole from last week was caused by me thinking it put the creature from the graveyard into play instead of your hand. And while I thought I overshot how powerful this spell really was, it turns out it might actually be that good. Next thing you know, Patrick Chapin's saying it's going to change everything. Call me a skeptic. Now let's get to the new stuff. I'll cover as much as I can, and here are the cards that stood out to me as I looked over the spoiler. Akrazan Squire, which I'm sure I'm mispronouncing, looks damn good to me. He's fantastic on turn 1, and turn 12 he actually has the ability to make a difference in the board state. This is how to design 1-drops that can actually impact constructed formats. Cradle of Vitality looks really interesting to me. Sure, it's got casual player written all over it, but this basically says that your kitchen finks will not only never die, they now have a 1 white, 1 colorless kicker that provides them with 2+1/+1 counters. Or when they return to play, thanks to Persist, you can activate Cradle of Vitality to remove the -1/-1 counter and leave it with a single +1/+1 counter. Using this with cards like Battle Grace Angel may make this innocuous enchantment much more powerful than it first appears. Dispeller's Capsule was simply made for Trinket Mage to go find in extended decks. Sure, the white and 2 colorless payment may be a bit much, but its usefulness in that format is not to be underestimated. Knight of the White Orchid was previewed by Mike Flores last week, and wow, is this guy just fantastic. He's probably the best pound-for-pound 2-drop ever printed in white, and for the first time in a long time, he allows the white weenie deck to lose the die roll and not be completely blown out thanks to the tempo loss. This will definitely be one of the chase rares of the set, and I suggest you get yours quickly. Scourglass is impressive in that it will provide Esper with plenty of power in the late game. The ability to blow up the world and then play Sharum the Hegemon and either put Scourglass back into play or another artifact-based monster seems pretty solid to me. Call to Heal will be a limited powerhouse. Not only does it make all of your comes into play effect creatures that much better when you bounce them, in a pinch you can bounce your opponent's creature for the Alpha Strike if you have to give them the extra card. Gather Specimens is a much better card than people are giving it credit for. First of all, it's control magic at instant speed, and it gets better from there. Secondly, playing this while Demigod of Revenge is on the stack and one is in the yard is tantamount to a kick in the junk. Lastly, and this is what is most interesting to me, playing this on an opponent's upkeep is like the most debilitating Orm's chant ever. Sure, they can play dudes, but you'll get them. This also includes any tokens generated, so you can always play this in response to your opponent activating Imperious Perfect. Definitely a sleeper. Memory Erosion is so powerful, I'm wondering if it might actually make milling a viable strategy. Yes, it's a mill card, so it's instantly dismissed. Stop laughing. But look closer. This doesn't affect you. Its ability stacks in case you have 2 or more, and it punishes your opponent just for playing Magic. With a little acceleration, you can get this out on turn 2. With cards like Sanity Grind taking 12 to 15 cards a whack, all I'm saying is don't be surprised if your state's opponent plays this on turn 3 and Sanity Grinds you into oblivion on turn 4. Soul's Fire is very intriguing. This card looks like one of those easily passed up, but the deck that makes me curious about it is the red-green-black token deck with All-Star Nantuko Husk. Using cards like Goblin Assault, Bitter Blossom, and Sprouting Thrynax, it wouldn't take long to swing in with an 8/8 or 10/10 Nantuko Husk, and 3 mana later, Soul's Fire wins the game for you. Just saying. Vicious Shadows makes me giggle. Why is this 7 mana? Because playing it with 3 Mog Fanatics on the board is most likely game over. Try powering this out quickly and then self-sacrificing your way to victory. Feral Hydra has to be the best multiplayer creature ever. So cool. I love this guy in any format that has more than 2 players. Just a perfect design here. One of the last cards spoiled was Realm Raiser. This guy is really, really interesting. The Mesmeric Fiend of lands in play, this guy can simply end games quickly. While development made him a fragile 2 toughness, the ability to wipe out your opponent's mana base at the end of their turn by makeshift manacking this guy seems incredibly powerful. And again, the power of instant reanimation rears its ugly head. And hell, even if they do float mana and kill it in response, their lands are still going to be tapped when they come back into play. Can't beat that. Overall, I really dig Shards of Alara. While I was originally groaning at the thought of yet another gold set, I can definitely see how this set differs from past creations. There is very little of the Chinese menu design style here, where you pick 2 different flavored colored abilities and stick them on a creature, and the shards have tremendous flavor. This is a world as rich and fluid as Ravnica, and I can't wait to see them up close this weekend. For those who are sick of the storybook fairy tale world of Lorwyn, they will certainly be satisfied with Alara. This set is as gorgeous as any Magic set I've ever seen. Grixis really looks like a hellscape, and Bant is gorgeous beyond words. Kudos to the flavor masters at Wizards of the Coast on this set. You guys really knocked it out of the park. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is official. I will be on the Magic Cruise this February, documenting the good times and the wild ride we have in the Gulf as we make our way towards Mexico. Can you imagine 5 days of pure Conflux release event goodness along with a PTQ and plenty of casual events to boot? To make it completely clear, this cruise is not just for those who will fly to Pro Tours to play in the Last Chance qualifiers. This is for Magic players of all sizes and statures ready to make the plunge in on both a vacation and a hell of a good time for one low price. You can be sure there will be all-night EDH games, cube drafts, and Type 4 stacks to get your casual gaming on at any time of day. I'd like to invite all of my viewers to head over to the Legion Events website and take a look at the details yourself. I think you'll be surprised at how kick-ass this thing really is. And lastly this week, my final effort to get me to Germany. While I've raised some money, in the realm of $180 or so, I'll need quite a bit more to get overseas. So as of this week, you may now pre-order the Magic Show Nationals 2008 DVD on MrOrangeProductions.com for only $14.99. This DVD will feature both original episodes and over half an hour of unaired footage, including some juicy tidbits from all of my guests and more. The DVD has been edited and is ready to be produced as soon as I get my new logo in place. In an effort to not have to speak with anyone's legal department, I've stripped out any semblance of the Magic logo from my show title, and with this comes the extra work involved in such a maneuver. The DVD content is finished and is ready to be put on the discs. The logo switch is coming next week, so I would expect to begin shipping them before next Friday. Remember, if I don't make it to Germany, your support allows me to cover other events as well. For example, I'll definitely be going to Grand Prix Kansas City this year, and it's all thanks to your support of the show. If this Nationals DVD is successful, you can be sure there will be more as I travel to larger events around the world. As I've found out through these past few years, the longer you do something, the better you get at it. So here's hoping I get a chance to produce another DVD in the future. So with that said, I'll leave you with pre-release dreams. I'm going to be attending the large pre-release in Nashville, Tennessee, supporting my own premier tournament organizer, and hope you guys have fun at your own pre-releases. Until next time, Magic players, this is Evan Irwin, tapping the cards so you don't have to.
I always like the fatties.